Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I am Tamara Johnson Shealy. Good morning. It is Saturday, May 2nd. I am amazed at how quickly this year is going by and how we are holding on, yet holding on, yet holding on. Let's see. My trusty co host is not with me this morning, but I wanted to have a conversation this morning about where we are in the midst of this pandemic with our salons and with our barbershops, and really talk about professionals and those that are going back to work. Um, this is hard for a lot of people when you got to make a choice between feeding your family and, providing and sustaining yourself and waiting on the government. And there's a lot of industries and there's a lot of people that can't afford to do that, can't afford to sit home. I saw an article just yesterday that talked about this pandemic could last 2 years. And I don't know anybody that can sit home for 2 years or another year or another 6 months or another 3 months or another month. A lot of people are really trying to navigate this new landscape, and a lot of these people aren't receiving the unemployment. They're not receiving the stimulus checks. They're not receiving the grants and the loans. So what do you do? What do you do when you have to feed your family and you know how to survive? You know how to get out, and you know how to go get it. You know how to work. What do you do? So the question has been on a lot of people's in a lot of spaces about salons and barbershops opening up for business. And I had to ask myself, as an 18-year beauty industry professional, I actually did services myself for 18 years, and I had to ask myself, if I still had a salon, would I actually go back to work? And I asked myself, and had a real deep conversation, would I really go back to work? And I absolutely would. And I would go back to work because, as a professional, I can tell you that my clients will tell you, they will attest to the fact that I went above and beyond with my health and safety standards. Everything in my salon was immaculate. I didn't, we cleaned everything. Those of you that know, I was a nail technician. I had jetted chairs. Everybody loves those chairs. They feel, the jets on your feet, it feels phenomenal. It is a great experience. But with those chairs, those jets actually hold water, and they hold bacteria. They hold debris. So I was intentional when I was providing services that I was between every client, my techs and I, we would literally run a solution and clean the jets every single time, because we knew there was debris and water that was being held. Just that, just everything. We cleaned, we wiped, we sanitized, we disinfected. We were on the cutting edge. So would I have gone back if that was me still providing services? I absolutely would. But I would go back with protective equipment. That's something that our stylists and our barbers, they're not, we don't wear masks and gloves. It's to the extent we do wear gloves, but not to the extent that it is a part of what we do the entirety of a service. We weren't wearing face shields. So all the things now that are required for us to go back, I would be doing those things, but I would definitely go back. But I didn't want to speak for me, because I think as I'm no longer behind doing services behind the table and providing services, but I wanted to bring in beauty and barber professionals from around the country to have this conversation. And we have several that's going to pop in, and we're going to have a conversation about salons and barbershops opening for business. And for some reason, everybody is speaking for this industry. You got your mayors, you got your pastors, you got activists, you have everybody speaking for beauty and barber professionals. And beauty and barber professionals have yet to be heard. I don't see them they're not interviewing them, they're not talking to them. But these are the people that have to go back to work. These are the people that want to go back to work. These are the people that are feeding their families. They need protective equipment. And that's been a request that we have we've pushed for, to get PPEs, to get the masks, to get the extra gloves, to get the face shields, to get all this protective equipment. but this is an industry that I wanted to speak. I wanted them to speak for themselves. So I'm gonna dive in. I have a few people that have already jumped into the conversation from around the country. Let me see. We have Deborah down in Deborah's in Alabama. Good morning,
Yes.
Deborah.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. You know I love your hair.
Well, thank you.
I don't think I've ever told you, but I love your hair. It really speaks to who we are as as artists. I love it.
Thank you. So it's just get and go. I think I
Let's
went the wrong way.
It's cute. It don't matter
Okay.
what you do
Thank
to
you.
it. The color, the cut. It's just let it do what it do. Like let it
You
do what
let
it
it do
do.
what it do. It do what it do. It does. It does. It
Yeah.
does. But thank you in a way for the invite.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to give beauty and barber professionals an opportunity to speak because people are speaking for us. And we do have a voice. We do have a voice of our own. You've been providing services for how many years? Introduce yourself.
Well, again, I am Deborah Alexander from Alabama. I've been in this industry. I think this should be my 41st year.
41 years. You've seen
40
history take all kinds of turns.
I've seen some turns. Yes, 41 years. Actually, I'm a DNA from a stylist. My mother just retired in 17 at 80 years old.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
What a
So
blessing that she was able to work and provide for your family. I'm sure, like she was
that's,
a pillar.
she was the breadwinner.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, she was. She was. So yes, I am again. I'm Deborah Alexander from Alabama. I am a licensed cosmetology instructor as well as a salon owner, Salon Suites. I'm a hair loss certified hair loss practitioner and a certified lash artist. And I've seen a lot going on through this industry. Also, I'm the founder of Alabama Professional Beauty Association, where our voices in Alabama will represent change within inside of our beauty industry.
Hmm. Hmm. And we have to speak for ourselves, Deborah. You know for a fact that this is an industry where we don't, we kind of have our own. We're kind of in our own world, right? Where
Hmm.
we don't look like other industries.
Right.
We do our own thing. We're much so independent. Most professionals that stand behind the chair and these professionals that provide services, we're independent. We don't have a corporate structure. We kind of, do things the way we do things. So people are wanting to go back to work.
Yes, they are.
They are, and in the professionals, Deborah, in Texas, I actually posted an article and share an article, and we'll have somebody from Texas on in just a few minutes. They're being arrested and fined for just trying to provide for themselves and their families. What are your thoughts there?
Well, I think that is as they want to use it in a political form at that point, because it's still we have rights. I mean, we literally have rights. So you're actually telling them if you don't abide by the law that man has set, this became a man-made law. This is not a law that has been on anybody's books or anything. This is a man-made law, and so I'm thinking that if it was me, I'm gonna feed my family because I'm gonna only stay in jail a certain amount of time. You can't keep me
Mm-hmm.
in jail for life. Will I have to pay the fine? Yes, I'm gonna pay the fine, but I still have to provide for my family. And so
Mm-hmm.
I would go back in, and I think it's horrific, as they would say, that they're actually putting stylists up under that kind of pressure. If you open the door, you're going to jail. If you don't open the door, you're going to starve. You can't feed your family. So that's putting a lot of pressure on a stylist. And I was just reading when we was talking, as you was in there, I thought about, and even in 2 Kings 7:4, if I stay, will I die? If I go, will I die? So it's better for me. I'm gonna have to go and do what I have to do, and it might be better for me if I keep moving. But if we don't, then we're gonna die in a land that's still that can provide for us. But it's just
Mm-hmm.
a law that it's a man-made law. And
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's still holding people against their constitutional rights to provide for their family.
Will I stay? Say that. Read that verse again. If I stay, that's the.
It's Second King. It say, if we stay and we go into the city, the famine is there. Will we die? If we stay here, will we die? So let us go over to the camp of the Ammonians. I think I said that right. And surrender. If they spare us, we will live. If they kill us, then we will die. So regardless to whether we go to the salon, we got to face this epidemic. If we go over there, they're gonna put us in jail. So we're caught in that. They say in that 2020. Which way should I go? I'm gonna have to go where I hope that they don't prosecute me, and there's too many, of us around, and I'm able today to go feed my family today. I might not go back to the salon tomorrow, but today I made some money and I didn't get caught to make enough money for me to go and feed my family and pay my mortgage, pay my car note, pay by the get, buy groceries, and then I can go back home.
Yeah.
So we have to really make that choice. Should I go or should I stay? And that was 2 Kings 7:4.
Mm-hmm. And we're gonna put a pin in that because that sums it up in a big way. Let me see. I have, and you are in Alabama. We have somebody from Georgia. And y'all are not open yet, are you?
No, we're not open yet. I'm thinking it's gonna maybe. I tell them don't hold me on that one. I'm thinking they're gonna try to do a soft opening toward the end of this month. Thinking that I kind of got a feeling because they had to again go to through the protocol and get with state board, with Alabama board to see how they're going to be able to put these in actions inside of our guidelines that we need to follow. So I'm looking forward to. I'm thinking maybe end of May or maybe the 1st of June, but no, we're not open yet
Yeah.
legally.
Legally. Yeah.
Legally,
A lot of people that are going to feed their families and they can't wait for an unemployment check that's not coming. They can't wait for this stimulus money that's only $1,200 that might get you through the end of the month. And they're not getting the grants and they're not getting the loans. So they got to eat and they got to survive. So
yes,
not talking to beauty and barber professionals, making decisions and having these conversations. The media has not talked to us, hasn't talked to anybody in this industry. They're talking to those that they think are our leaders. Those are not our leaders.
right.
Me, Deborah, we're gonna bring in Darnice. Darnice, are you there? Let's see. She's down in Georgia. She's got her fan up. Hey, Darnice.
Hey, how you doing, Tamara?
Good morning. Good morning. Darnice
I'm
is
here. Can you hear me?
yes. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Awesome. Good morning. So Darnice is here in Georgia. Tell us, how long have you been in the industry, Darnice?
I've been in the industry for about 11 years myself. Um, and you know, I understand, people have to feed themselves, and I'm so for feeding themselves, and I'm for people doing what they're comfortable with doing. You know what I'm saying? If you're comfortable with going back to work, but I also feel like if they want us to open up, they need to prepare us because from what my understanding is, I'm not sure. Um, they don't have the resources to find like the protective devices that they even need to open up their salons with, like a lot of the black salons can't, like the protective shield mask and stuff. Is that my understanding? Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. So we don't
So
have, it would be great. And that was, here in Georgia, Darnice, just to kind of bring everybody up to speed. I actually had a conversation and I did get an opportunity to voice our concerns specific to Georgia and what we could do, what they could do, and what kind of, guidelines. I had one ask, and I asked that they would get protective equipment, specifically masks, to the N95 mask, not just surgical masks, cloth masks, N95 masks, because we need the best of the best. Um,
right, exactly,
masks, and
exactly.
That has not been granted. I'm going to still continue to push it, and this is where, as an organization, the Concerned Beauty and Barber Professionals and Politics Beauty and Barber is working to push this envelope and to push getting protective equipment. This country should have had protective equipment for all of us. You know, everybody in America should have PPEs, but those of us that are going back to work, and we're now frontliners, we could be those that are spreading this disease and spreading it our clients and our families. We need
or even make it a. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Darnese.
Or even make it available. I mean, when our governor opened up Georgia, you open up Georgia, you open up the malls, but you can't even go into Walmart and buy a bottle of Clorox to clean your salon, or Lysol, or disinfectant wipes. You know, the very essence of the things we need to sanitize our salons, you can't purchase it. You can't get it out of Costco. Or so how are we supposed to protect ourselves? Do you understand what I'm saying? So um, you're really putting us at risk in the industry. So I say open up, but just make sure you be safe when you open up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then if you have, you know, some things in stock now, and then you have enough to maybe sanitize, because that's going to take a lot of sanitation and sterilization for a few weeks, and then I don't see any of the stores restocking, because I've been getting up early. I have chasing some Lysol, and you can't even find Lysol now, because that would cut down on some of the cleaning, because you could spray after every customer, you know, like where they sit and that kind of stuff. But even the states don't have the resources, so you're putting the industry at risk.
The state does. I will. You know, the state has federal dollars, and this is where I've been like pushing, and as an organization, we've been pushing because those federal dollars, let it trickle over into the industries that you're allowing to go back to work. It,
Mm-hmm.
if the our only ask is protective equipment, is that's how, if that's an easy, to me, that's an easy ask. The problem is America doesn't manufacture these things on shore. So these products are, you know, masks and all this stuff is being made in China. And we have to understand that the borders are closed in some in some capacity and tight. So getting stuff now may be a much more difficult, but this is where I push back on the federal government, because this is their job, is to make sure that this country has what it needs. But then we have this competition where states are competing, and they're competing with the government, or for resources. And this is where we are missing it. And in those of us that want to go back to work, small business owners, those of you that stand behind the chair and provide beauty and barber services, who want to go back to work, can't. And I always
Right.
hate to be the one to talk about the problems, and I always try to talk about solutions. Let's bring in
Solution.
Dr. Brenda. Her camera's giving us a little issue, but that is her. Dr. Brenda, can you hear us?
Yes, I do.
Good. Good morning. How are
Good,
you?
good morning, and thank you for being having me to come on and be here with my fellow salon professionals. Good morning to you all.
Good morning,
Good
Dr.
morning.
Brenda. She is in Ohio. So we have Deborah over in Alabama. We have Darnese here in Georgia, and we have Dr. Brenda up in Ohio. Talk to us, Dr. Brenda. What's going on in Ohio? Tell us first of all how long you've been in the industry, and tell us what you do. And
Okay, I
introduce yourself.
am. I have been in the industry for 43 years, and 32 years of that I owned a salon. Um, I'm an instructor. I'm retired now. I'm an advocate for legislation. I'm glad to be a part of the beauty barber professionals and the concerned beauty barber professionals that you are chair of, and I'm just grateful for being a part of this because in my state, um, I'm fighting legislation constantly. Um, I'm also the president of the Ohio Association of Beauticians, and I'm grateful to be that person to lead our state into things that we are facing right now with the COVID-19. Yesterday, I was announced to be on the advisory group for the personal service to bring forth the health, dealing with the health part of our industry. As you know, we are already trained for this. We've already know about sanitation, which involves cleaning and disinfecting and sterilization. And like the young lady Darnie said, it's hard, even in Ohio, it's hard to get the products to clean with. It's hard to get the things necessary to go back to work. Our governor hasn't released us to go back. We're probably in the last group to go back. And also in that advisory group that I've been put on, there's some state board members involved. There's single salon owners. There are multiple corporate salon owners on this board. There's some heavy hitters on this board. And being on this board it's an awakening. But what they have us as a task to do is talk about the protection of going back into the salon and listing the things that you have to do. Some things are going to be different. Right now in Ohio, there are companies that have partnered up with our state that are making masks, that are making shields, but still it's not the type N95, which is the most protection that you are legislating, fighting for this industry. I've also done it, legislated along with you, with my governor. And so waiting to hear from them on the things that we need is on the top of the list. Testing is on the top of the list, along with those things that we already do is clean our stations, wipe after each customer. They want us now to have a cloth, a chair cloth for each client. And when a client comes in, they want to do the temperature. They want to make sure they wash their hands, put a mask, have a mask. Salon owners now may have to have masks for clients that do not come in. Spacing your clients so far apart. The date hasn't been set for us to go back, but it's later in the month. But there is so many concerns about the health. The people are afraid. A lot of the salon, we've been having shop talk meetings. They're afraid to go back in the salon. But we can't walk in fear because they know they also have to provide for their families. But it's a decision where you have to almost, if some of them are doing here at home and they're even contracting the virus and spreading the virus because they're not following maybe the guidelines of sanitation, but they don't know who the carrier is, the person that's coming to get their hair done when they're doing hair and they're at home. We've had that problem here in Toledo and probably in other states too. They want to get they're looking out for their welfare financially. It's very difficult to make a decision to go back to work. When it does open, some of them saying they're not going back until June. Maybe they can afford to stay. They have things lined up where they can afford to stay, and they have their financial situation is set. But a lot are not set, especially those that haven't paid into the system and their taxes. It's rough. They won't even benefit at all.
And that's my big fear. It's my biggest fear is that people will get desperate, and desperate times will call for desperate measures. And this is an industry where you have a lot of people who have criminal backgrounds. You know, they have they have their convicted felons. They have, you know, a mindset that they're trying to get beyond, and that's why they go to work, and that's why they stand behind the chair, and that's why they do services. And when you start to these people can't provide for themselves, we don't know what kind of desperate measures people will take. And my biggest fear is that we either get incarcerated with this or they kill us. And that's the incarceration is already happening. I posted up, like I said, was telling, just saying earlier, is they're already arresting and fining people for not obeying this emergency ordinance that's not in place. So it is we're in some scary times with how we are, how this industry is moving. So you're right, Dr. Brenda. A lot of single mothers, a lot of single parents in this industry and a lot of people are doing hair at home. A lot of people in this industry did not stop. They could not stop. They're doing hair at home and going into other people's homes, which is even more dangerous. If you at least bring us back with protective equipment, we can control that environment. But when you're going into somebody else's home or you're having people coming into your home, all this cross-contamination is inevitable, right?
Yes.
It's inevitable.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's what can cause a lot more dangerous, for a lot of us more in high risk,
Mhm.
with cross contamination. We learned that in cosmetology school, not to do cross contamination. And now we are doing cross contamination, going from house to house. And we're really not prepared or nor protected, because when you're home and going from house to house, versus, like you say, if they gave us the equipment and made sure that we were, provided for, that they provide for us for to have the equipment that we need, we can probably cease, a lot of the contamination that's going to cause these bacteria, this virus, to continue to harbor. Because once I leave from out of your house, then I don't know if my immune system may have been low. I don't know. And then I go to the next person's house and the next person's house. Now I'm going into the grocery store.
Mhm.
So we have literally cross contaminated thousands of people, and we could be that walking virus that we, don't know that we are. So if the government, made sure that we were provided for so that we can safely walk back into our business, with precaution. We need to have these classes, set up the classes so we'll know exactly what it is that we need to have in place to prepare ourselves, to go back in. I told them this morning, go on now. If we'll perhaps maybe have a soft opening in the end of May, go on now and start, disinfecting your salons. Go on now if you need fresh paint. Go on now and paint the building. Use the kills that holds the bacteria and stuff. Go on and start now cleaning out your cabinets and getting everything in place. And do that maybe 2 or 3 times, at least once a week, because that way the bacteria won't be able to, the virus won't have a dominant place to survive, because you're constantly now going back and cleaning it. But they have been shut down so long now, those bacteria have made a host just inside of our building. So
And
we
also get them into the routine of cleaning and how to clean. So that would help them just prepare themselves for the routine of cleaning, cleaning.
right, yes. So it's more so a lot on our part as well. Well, we can't depend on the government. We already know that. We are
Yeah.
out there. We can't depend on man, to tell us what we need to do. Only man can tell us what we can't do. But we can't, man is not telling us this is what you should do. So we have to take on our own initiative and our own aggressiveness and say, this is what we need to do. And what we have to do, we've got to do it in accordance, in one accord. And everybody's running here, we got to do it together to make sure that this is what seems to be the most effective, this way that we can get this done. So if we just came together and not be all over the place, because that's what the government is basically doing. He want us to stay unfocused. Not focused on what we need to do, because we're so bent on focusing on what will happen if we do, and not focus on what we need to do. So we have to get ourselves in position and say, this is what we have to do. Again, this is our industry. This does not belong to the legislature. We are the ones that stand behind the chair. We the one who cut the hair. We are the one that makes the industry do what it do. So we have to take that stand and tell the government, no, this is what we need.
And that's why I invited you guys on this broadcast today. Tara, I'm gonna bring you in. I see your mic is muted. Unmute yourself. This is why I invited professionals on the broadcast today, because we don't have a voice. Everybody and their mama trying to speak for the beauty and barber industry. Everybody is speaking for us when we should be speaking for ourselves. Tara, are you there? I know we don't have a camera, but are you there? Can you hear us? Tara? Tara, can you hear us? Okay, Tara, I'm gonna bring you out. We have no sound. We have no camera and no sound. We have a few barbers in the house. Let me bring in a couple barbers in the house. Let me bring in Mr. Kevin Jackson, who is out in Texas. And then we're gonna bring in Mr. Andre Randall, who is up in Wisconsin. Good morning, fellas.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, good morning. Kevin, over in Texas. You guys are still closed, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Still closed right now.
How's that?
And we don't know the exact date to open, but I was hearing like close to about the 18th of this month. So we're just at a standstill right now.
It's got to be hard on beauty and barber professionals in the state of Texas. Your state was the one where I sent you the article where two professionals were arrested and fined for providing services outside of the emergency ordinance that's been set in place. I've seen where y'all are having, there's a salon in Texas where a woman has defied the law and opened, and she's standing on the front lines saying that we have to go back to work. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I didn't take it too much into consideration because the way it was done, I thought about it, the way she did it, and the way she was at the salon and defied the ordinances and to stay at home. But that I just didn't see a solution behind that. So I'm just a solution type of person, and to get straight to the facts of what measures can we take in order to be an essential industry. And I've been off probably about almost 2 months, and I tell you, it's something really to think about because, you know, we are back in history. We assisted the surgeons in the hospitals. We were barber surgeons back then. We did minor surgeries like bloodletting, teeth pulling, etc. And you take it all the way back from there. And so we are an essential business industry. So they see it as we're not essential, but we can't take what happened in Dallas into consideration because we need to take the fight to Austin, Texas, and talk to our local representatives, state representatives. So I don't know. I just didn't see any substance in what she did.
Andre, welcome to the broadcast. You're up in Wisconsin. How are you?
How you doing?
Open? Good morning. Are you guys open in your state?
Not yet.
Tell us.
Not yet. They
industry and
still have us closed down. From my understanding, it's until the end of this month, possibly, according to the guidelines, and we're in preparation to return. And they've been doing everything they can to prepare us for returning to work. But you know, like I know in this industry, this ain't the first epidemic we done seen. We've dealt with several. This is our profession.
Mhm.
We know as cosmetologists and as barbers and as educators that we have to deal with germs, viruses, funguses. This is what we're taught. This is what we pay thousands and thousands of dollars for. So my thing is, why are we not allowed to show that we are capable of dealing with certain aspects of this? Why we are not allowed to give our input on what we know as people that have done this for years on how to deal with it? You know, our input counts because we have survived many, many situations in this industry. Many.
We are, like you said, we've been trained. We've been educated. That's the foundation of our licensure, is health and safety. We've been trained in this. So how can we be deemed non-essential? Because that's where legislators get it wrong. And let me tell you, the job of a legislator is to not make decisions for any industry. The job of a legislator is to facilitate a process. And that process is to get policy initiated. And that is their job, not to speak on behalf of any industry. And when we see and hear these legislators that think they know who we are and have no clue, they've never been to beauty school, they've never been to barbering school, they don't know what it takes to do what we do, the way we do what we do. But they're speaking for us. You have mayors, you have pastors, you have all these people that are telling people not to come back to us. And granted, I will be honest. There's going to be a lot of people in our industry, because of the deregulation that has happened to us, that are not going to do it right. They have lowered our standards across this country for many, many, many years, and that's what we've been fighting as professionals in our organization. We've been fighting the deregulation initiatives because they've lowered the standards, and with these lower standards, people are getting trained less and less. So there's going to be people in this industry not going to get it right, and I'll tell you. Those of you that are clients, that are watching, customers that are watching, let me tell you that a lot of places that aren't licensed, those people aren't trained. Those people aren't trained. Be mindful that the first thing you look for when you walk into a salon or a barbershop, you look for that license. A lot of our weave salons, our braid salons, our lashes, there's a lot of people that are out here doing these mini services or just certain particular services. They're not licensed. They're not trained. So those are the ones that are going to make us look, those of you that are licensed and are doing this, those are the ones that are going to make you look bad. Yeah. She said, because of the Cosmetic Act and the court order deregulating cosmetology to non-health boards. Yeah, we're not governed by the state health department. We have a license. We're governed by the Secretary of State. So we're the health department. We don't have any oversight by people that are health professionals. So this is where we're going to have to really look at the structure of our industry moving forward, because we are essential. This is mental health for a lot of people. This is not just beautification. We're not making people just look good. This is mental for a lot of people. This is therapy and therapeutic for a lot of people. And like Andre said, we've done this before. We've been here before. This is not new to us.
Well,
Dive in. I'm on my soapbox. I'm trying not to be. Unmute your mic, Andre. I can't for some reason. It's frozen. Go ahead, Deborah.
We, as you were stating earlier, you were speaking about the unlicensed stylists, the ones that's not following the proper protocol as to guidelines that has been set by each state, because each state do have different regulations that we have to follow. Here in Alabama, we don't have to be certified to do lashes. In certain areas, other states, they do. Alabama don't require CEU hours. In other states, they do. And we're pushing Alabama to put our CEU hours back in. And I think every municipality, every state should be pushing for those CEU hours. Because what those CEU hours would do as time like today, where we're in now, you have a guideline that you have to follow. And without a guide, where would you go? You just everywhere. So there needs to be restrictions and a guideline. If you are holding these cosmetologists and these barber licenses that you went to school for, that put you in a whole different category. As my mama said, I can do hair. My daddy said I can cut hair. Well, you went and got trained, and part of that training was sanitation. So now that you got these licenses, you don't have to follow the rules, but the rules were set in chapter 5. The rules were set in chapter 2. So if we have to go back to the table and say, no, this is what need to be done, because this is our lives that's in jeopardy due to the fact of the ones that has not been regulated. We regulated. The ones that has not been regulated need to be put in action and find them. We have to just take place. Like I say, legislature, they don't do hair. They don't cut hair. They don't do anything that's, as they say, not essential, but it is essential to us because we was trained to provide an essential services to the community.
Let me show
So
you this picture that I put up on the screen. This is someone sent me this. This is from the Spanish flu, the 1918. This is what barbers was doing, Andre. So speaking to, we've seen this before. Look, they're outside. That means they understood that they needed like some clean airflow. They got their mask on. This somebody actually sent me this. This was printed somewhere in Berkeley. And someone actually sent me this, and this is something that I'll share out. Look, we've seen this before. We've been here before. So these are services that we can provide. This is proof right here that we've been here before. I'm going to bring in, we have Washington State in the house. Let me bring her in. Heather, let's see. Good morning, Heather. Good morning. Good morning, Washington State. How are you?
A little dreary this morning up here.
Yeah. Good morning. How are y'all aren't open? Washington was one of the first states to be impacted by this pandemic.
We were one of the very first states to be impacted. It actually hit Washington State back in January. Our governor shut us down in the cosmetology, barber, beauty industry in March 16th. We are still shut down. We have a very wishy-washy government up here when it comes to reopening. Our numbers have significantly not only flattened but decreased, but they're saying that they still don't have enough scientific data to allow people to go back to work. We are set for phase 2 to reopen according to the governor, which won't be until June. So by the time June 1st rolls around, we'll be 75 days with no income and the salon shut down. I went yesterday to our county courthouse to peacefully protest. I took my son, who's a senior in high school, to do his civic duties, and he works for me part-time at my salon, helping us clean and greet guests. Well, that's not going to happen anymore, but with all of that, he went and protested. We gave a speech. I specifically addressed the 80 plus people that were there about our industry being heavily targeted nonstop by the government all across the United States. But up here in Washington, we have one of the strictest regulations when it comes to sanitation in the salon. We get very regular inspections. So most people don't realize what we go through to be in our industry and what it takes. You cannot do hair in the state of Washington unless you do have a cosmetology or barber license. We are very regulated, and you have to have all extra insurances. There's all kinds of stuff. I'm pushing, and that's why I joined up with Tamira and all of you wonderful folks to get it across nationwide, a sanitation requirement that everybody should be going to school at least once a year and get some continued education for sanitation, because there are several places even here in the state of Washington that don't practice proper sanitation. And that's part of the problem why our Department of Health up here is dragging their feet, I think, and not wanting us to go back to work.
Because we're some of us.
Some of us, not all of us.
That's right.
it only takes one person to ruin it for everybody, and that's the downside. So,
and that's what has happened, that some of us have made it bad for all of us that are wanting to do this and do this right and have been, and do this right. So, the inspections, I want to speak to that. A lot of our states, I'm glad to hear that Washington State is one of the states where you do have regular inspections. I can tell you here in the state of Georgia, and I'll ask with Wisconsin and Texas the same. Georgia has about a dozen inspectors. Sadly, about a dozen, right? For the entire 10 million people in the state of Georgia, that, this our population. And we share those inspectors with funeral homes and car lots.
wow.
When I owned my salon for those 18 years, I can probably count maybe twice in 18 years had I been inspected. Ridiculous. That sounds crazy.
So we get inspected. It's mandated to get a state inspection for sanitation at minimum once a year, sometimes 2 to 3 times a year. Everybody who is in that salon at any given moment better be able to answer any questions that our sanitation board has for us, or you get written up for it. They also go through everything, including your barbicide. They go through every drawer. I had a problem one time, and it's something funny. You guys will all laugh, especially the barbers over here. I not only do cosmetology work, but I do barbering. And I was using my clippers. I sat them down on my station. The guy was still in my chair, and I was getting something else. The lady came and grabbed my clippers and goes, "You have hair on your clippers." Yep. She's like, "Well, that's a violation." I'm like, "No, I'm still working. Thanks." So, yeah, no, they're pretty picky up here in Washington State.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Wisconsin, how are the inspections there?
Non-existing.
Wow.
Non-existing. From what I have experienced, we have very few policing as far as inspections are concerned. There's a lot of political issues here as far as the cosmetology barbering is concerned. They took away a couple of our licensing this year that is definitely needed. Our manager's license, our instructor's license, as well as our CEUs. Those are vital to this industry. Without any instructors, you cannot teach managers. Without any managers, you cannot govern it, CEUs. So it's just like, if you take those away, then what's left? You just have an industry that's running chaos, and I know that's probably through state to state, but that's why they don't police us. That's why they don't tell us what's needed for our industry to be essential, because we don't have any police.
Texas, what's going on with your inspections there?
Ooh. I haven't seen the inspection probably about 3 years. And then before that, it was about 7 years. So within 10 years, I've been inspected only 3 times.
Alabama, unmute your mic. Okay, go ahead. I got
Did
you.
I get it? Okay. Yes, we have once a year inspections. They come through at least once a year to the salons and do an inspection to making sure that we have followed the sanitation precautions, making sure the barber side and all those little things like that. But it's once a year. Yeah. But so many people.
Go ahead. So many
people don't are not registered. That's the killing part. So many salons are not registered with the state and operating. So those that's not registered with the state, they have no idea to able to go into these salons because they're not a licensed cosmetologist salon nor a barber. So that's on every other corner that they don't even have state board license to operate. nor city or county license. They may have city or county, but they don't have state board license to operate. So those are the ones that get passed through.
Yeah. Darnice in Georgia, what has been your experience with inspections?
I have, I haven't been in a salon in a while, but I've never been a part of salon inspection in any salon I've ever worked in. Never seen an inspection, had one.
Wow.
And you were in the industry how many years, Darnice?
11.
11. Wow. Wow.
Yeah. But even when I owned a salon, I never had an inspection.
Wow. Dr. Brenda,
Wow.
My mother on Atlanta for about 17 years, and she maybe have had maybe one, as I can recall.
Dr. Brenda, are you still there? We know we got the UCAM for you. Can you hear us? Okay, we don't have any sound from her. Tara, let's see if she ever was able to get her. Tara? No sound. Tara? No sound, no camera. Yeah, so, deregulation. This is a product of deregulation of our industry nationally, where you've lowered our standards. You've made us non-essential because industry wants workers. Corporations want workers. So they want to be able to dictate and control this industry and literally have destroyed us. So deregulation this is what it is. No inspections, not the proper oversight, and this is across the country. This is just local to any of us. This is across the country, this problem that we have with the deregulation of our industry. We're almost at the top of the hour, so I wanted to speak to you guys about how do we move forward. I know that this is, we've talked about the problems. We're real clear. How do we move forward? What needs to happen? And Deborah, I'll let you go, and then we're going to rotate everybody out in these last 8 minutes.
How we're going to move forward, we're going to have to actually prepare ourselves to go back to work. That is to follow the law, to follow our safety and sanitation precaution, and just know that we won't be going back to the life we used to live, the way that we used to operate. We will be operating on a much higher level of expectation, not only for ourselves, but the welfare of our clients. So just be prepared. Prepare yourself with preparation. Prepare.
Awesome. Thank you, Deborah. Deborah is in Alabama. You'll be hearing more from these beauty and barber professionals. I'm gonna put a website up on our way out so you'll know how to find professionals that are actually doing it. So stay tuned. Thank you, Deborah. Kevin,
Yes.
What are your thoughts on how we move forward?
I don't know. We should, as professionals, we should, unite as one, because it's not just on the state level, just on a national level, really, and come up with solutions to combat for our businesses as in the hair industry, because a lot of our barbershops and salons businesses, a lot of them, I come to find out a lot of them are not set up the way they're supposed to be set up. And we have to set our business up in a way to where we will be ready for anything that comes toward us. And so I think about that all the time, because I had a criminal background. I'm gonna be short. I had a criminal background, and I decided to make barbering my profession, but I was already cutting hair when I was 14. So what I'm saying is, I learned early how to get my mindset geared toward business at a young age. So, and I'm still learning. So that's what I'm saying. We have to have those type of mental thoughts and make sure our businesses are correctly set up to where when, and see, we don't want a paper trail, but you have to have a paper trail now. It's very vital now because eventually we'll become a cashless society. And when we become a cashless society, if your business is not set up right, you're going to fall. So we should come up with concepts and take our agenda to, again, the state representatives and the governors of our own state and just come up with solutions.
Yeah, solutions that mirror us nationally as one unified voice, as one. We got to have a political presence, and they got to see us as an industry that's united in our efforts. So, Kevin, I want to thank you for all you're doing in the state of Texas. Like I say, stay tuned. I'm going to give some information on how to find these professionals, because there are professionals that are in this industry that are doing it right. And I want to be sure that I use my platform to shine the light on those of you that are doing it right, because we got to save lives. And a lot of people are going to be hurt in the midst of this if they're going to the wrong people. So thank you, Kevin, for all you do in Texas.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Miss Heather.
Yeah.
How do we move forward?
How do we move forward? Prepare. Everybody should start looking at stepping up their game. Sanitation is definitely going to be the big key. We just addressed this the other day in a business meeting, that not everybody's going to want to come back to the cosmetology barber world and feel safe. They won't feel safe for a while. So we're going to have to step it up, get some extra sanitation going, and make sure that you're announcing what you're doing to your clients. Post it somewhere, make sure that they know exactly what certifications you have and what's going to put your business above the other people if they're not going to want to step up the game. We really have to work on sanitation. I'm huge on that. I've already been to my salon, even though we can't open, to space everything out so everybody can stay that social distance away from other people. And it's something, like you said, we're moving into a new time and a new era of our industry, and things are definitely going to start changing, and they'll look a lot different. There won't be a time where we go back to what it used to be. We can only move forward from here.
I agree. Heather is in Washington State. Like I said, we're going to put information up. I'm going to tell you how to find these professionals, because when they come back, we need to make sure that clients are coming to those of you that are doing it right. So Heather, thank you for all you do in the state of Washington. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for everything you're doing to help all of us nationwide. It's appreciated.
Yes, I'm glad to do it. Like I said, I fell in love with this industry back in my 20s, and I'm still in love with it.
Well, me too. And like I told you on the phone when we were chit-chatting, I'm doing it because it's not just for all of us that are currently in the industry. It's to inspire those coming up into the industry to do it the right way.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Thank you, Heather, in the state of Washington. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, and have a good morning.
Yes. So let me see if we have Tara. If we got any sound from her. Tara, are you there? No, we don't have any sound. Tara is one of our professionals over in Augusta, Georgia. Dr. Brenda, are you there? Any sound?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
A couple minutes left. How do we move forward, Dr. Brenda?
Moving forward, as everyone has said, that we will have different standards in the salon for the care of sanitation and health, which we've been trained for. We're going to be even more so. We are going to be the ones that they're going to look at. We're going to show them that we're changing, but we're also going to have to move forward in our legislation, contacting our senators, our representatives, the governor, of the changes of deregulation that's on the agendas. We have to fight those bills. We have to know ahead of time, putting something forward nationally, is we all can say the same voice and say some standards about our business being essential. Then I think that we'll have a one voice, and everybody in every state will be doing the same thing. Legislatively, they can stop deregulating, taking away CEUs, our instructor's license, our manager's license. They're doing it here in Ohio too. We're fighting it.
Yeah, and we got to continue to fight. So thank you, Dr. Brenda, for all you do in the state of Ohio. And we're going to keep fighting, and we're going to be, you stand united, and we're going to bring the integrity back to our entire industry. So thank you for all you do, Dr. Brenda, in Ohio.
You're so welcome, and I appreciate all that you do. I see your passion, and I'm passionate with you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, let me see who else is left. Darnice, you want to give a final word? I know you were in and out. You want to give how do we move forward?
Sure. I just kind of want to chime in on what Kevin said. You know,
You're not in the screen. We can't see you off to the side.
I'm being lazy. I'm sitting on my sofa. I said I just want to kind of chime in on what Kevin's saying. I think we can move forward. We can continue with our what we were trained to do, because we were trained for this, but we also want to set ourselves up for success in the future, as you know, maybe not to rely so much on other resources, but you know, set ourselves up to be successful as professionals, and set yourself up as a business and run yourself like a business. You know what I'm saying? So that sometimes when things happen, you know, we can't always be prepared, but you know, 30, 60, 90 days, you might be all right. You know what I'm saying? I don't think no business is prepared to go a whole year without the business, but you know, like a lot of us want to run our business, like Kevin was saying, we don't want to be in the system, but a business is a business, you know, so we need to run it as businesses. And if we are professionals, then we need to run our business like professionals. So
That's right. And it's all about health and safety and sanitation. So Darnice, thank you for all you do right here in the great state of Georgia. Thank you.
thank you guys. And thank you for all you do, because, you know, together we stand.
That's right. Divided we fall. So let's stand
Exactly.
together. Thank you, Darnice. We are at the top of the hour. I want to thank all of the beauty and barber professionals from across the country that joined me, that chimed in, those of you that are clients that are considering going back into our salons and barbershops. But before I head out, I want to show you this website. It's the Concerned Beauty and Barber Professionals. It's what we do. It's our hub for making sure that we protect our clients and protect ourselves. It is rooted in health and safety and sanitation. And this website is, we have an 844 number for those that are going back. And if you don't feel safe when you go back into the salon, please dial 844-4-SAFE-BB, and that stands for Beauty and Barber. If you don't feel safe, if you've been injured, had any adverse health reaction from receiving or providing a beauty or barber service, reach out to us. We're not attorneys. We are fellow beauty and barber professionals. We want to mitigate. We want to get in the middle of this and help our industry. How do we reach out to those professionals that, you know, may have done something that was harmful, or they're not keeping you as safe as you would like to be kept safe, as they should be keeping you safe? Reach out to us and let us help our fellow beauty and barber professionals. We don't want to see anybody get shut down. You'll get shut down if you have to get shut down. But if we can help our professionals along the way, that is what we intend to do with 844-4-SAFE-BB. So as a client, make sure, of course, you're looking for a license. Make sure you're looking for advanced continuing education. You want to see some stuff on the wall, some credentialing, because every time you take a class in this industry, you get some sort of certificate. So you want to see certificates on the wall. You want to see them actually, you know, stepping up to the plate and keeping you safe with continual education and continuing to learn. Things change in this industry, and we need to be sure that professionals are getting the education to make sure they keep you safe when you visit our salons and barbershops. We're suggesting that not only do professionals wear N95 masks, that you wear N95 masks too. That is the greatest barrier of protection. 95% of the particles don't pass through. So that means that that's the best we can get. And I'm asking, as an organization, we've been asking our states and our governors to provide industries with the necessary PPEs, specifically the N95 mask. I believe every American should have an N95 mask. That would be the smart thing for this country to do is to make sure that we provide N95s for everybody in this country, several N95s, just ramp up production of N95. And as a candidate for the United States Senate, on my watch, this kind of crap will never happen again, because I'm telling you, I will be loud. I'm going to be speaking truth to power. I'm going to be calling folks out, and I'm going to be working really hard to make sure that consumers are safe in this country, and professionals and industries. Make sure that when you go and you're getting a service, make sure that that professional is disinfecting, sanitizing, disinfecting, and sterilizing. Sterilization is not a process that we have been mandated to do, but it is a very efficient next step. So as you watch what your professional doing, sanitation is basic cleaning, disinfecting is really cleaning and making sure they're killing the virus, the bacteria, and then sterilization is total elimination of even the spores. So look at how they're actually cleaning, pay attention, and make sure you hold them accountable. A lot of times clients tend to have these relationships you tend to have a relationship with your professional, your friends, your family. You have an emotional relationship, but guess what? They need to keep you safe. You're the client first, and they need to keep themselves safe. So be mindful of the way beauty and barber professionals are cleaning their salons and their barbershops. Make sure you're getting a clean cape every time. Make sure that you got clean towels. Make sure that everything that they're giving you and working on you with, these things are clean and they haven't been reused. So be mindful, pay attention, hold them accountable. And then here's the last step I wanted to share. We're going to come in the next month as states begin to open up. We're going to be helping you to find those professionals. I'm telling you, there's a lot of industry people that are doing services, like I say, your braid salons, your weave salons, your lash salons. Some of these places have been allowed to open and be legitimate businesses, but these are not licensed professionals, and they have not, and I repeat, they have not been trained in health, safety, and sanitation. They have business licenses. They can provide us services, but they have not been trained properly in health, even at all, or properly in health, safety, sanitation, or infection control as licensed beauty and barber professionals have. So as we move forward, we're going to be highlighting those that are doing it right across this country. So in your state, you'll actually be able to find those that are keeping you safe and keeping themselves safe in our salons and barbershops. So thank you very much. I'm at the top of the hour. I look forward to coming back and talking to you more. My trusty co-host, David, will be here with me next week. Have a good week, and I will see you guys next Saturday.